We've got some breaking news this Friday afternoon. The Falcons have released starting cornerback Casey Hayward. So we're going to run through what this means for the Falcons going into the NFL draft and how this might alter their draft strategy. Now, Ian Rappaport was the first one to tweet out the news that the Falcons have released cornerback Casey Hayward Jr. Now, Casey Hayward was getting up in his career. We're going to look at some notes and whatnot. But my initial reaction to this was, I think this is maybe Casey Hayward potentially letting the Falcons know, as I work my way back from shoulder surgery, I'm getting up in my career. I don't know if I can go 17 games. Now, Hayward is carrying a $7 million cap hit, or he was carrying a $7 million cap hit. He's going to turn 34 at the start of the 2023 season. The Falcons did not cut Casey Hayward today to save some money. If they wanted to do that, they would have done it before free agency, where they could have spent that money. I think this is the Falcons getting in touch with Hayward as he works himself back from shoulder surgery that he suffered in the injury week 6, and they're realizing, and he's probably realizing, we don't think you can start in the NFL as you approach your mid-30s and you're coming off a bad shoulder injury. I think it's time to maybe call it a career and maybe move on. Now, last season, his PFF grade in only 6 games was 64.7. Now, if you're unfamiliar with PFF, my general rule of thumb is if you want to translate that to a U.S. school system or grading system, add 10 points, meaning 74, C grade, an average grade. That's a perfectly fine starting CB2 to be average. But Casey Hayward, no more with the Falcons. So, what does this mean for the NFL draft? Well, that is what we're going to talk about for the rest of today's video. But what is your one-word reaction to Hayward getting cut? Definitely did not see this happening when I woke up this morning. So give me your one-word reaction to the Falcons moving on from the veteran cornerback. And while you're typing it in the comment section, if you're not subscribed, hit that sub button too, because anytime the Falcons make any sort of move, producer Nick Roloff and I, we get into the studio. Day off or not, we're going to be here for you guys to make sure you never miss a single thing when it comes to your Atlanta Falcons. Now, the cornerback room for the Falcons looks like this following the move. Jeff Okudah, I bumped him up to CB2. We'll put Mike Hughes at CB3. D. Alford or Hall can be the nickel corner. That's definitely going to be a training camp battle. But A.J. Terrell, I mean, you can look at this one of two ways. The Falcons have 2 corners who were top 10 picks in the NFL draft at one point. So they've got some great guys to work with right there. But this definitely opens up the possibility of the Falcons going cornerback at number 8. I don't think Atlanta cut Casey Hayward today because they decided we're drafting a corner at number 8, so we've got no spot for you. That's a pretty ballsy move to make when you don't even know how the draft is going to shake out from picks 1 through 7. So I don't think they cut Casey Hayward because they decided we're going cornerback. I think they cut Casey Hayward because they learned the shoulder injury might not be coming along that well. That's just speculation from my end, so don't take that and run with it as the gospel. But I think that's a real possibility, and they like a lot of the corners in this draft, so it's somewhat timed out well for them. Now, it did free up $5 million in cap space, so they could go on a bit of a spending spree, but Fontenot's been very busy so far in free agency. He's already spent a lot of Arthur Blank's money, so maybe he would look to spend a little bit more, but there's not a big name free agent still out there, although Unique Ngakoue has yet to sign. So let's get Unique to Atlanta. Let's start the movement right now. Get all the pass rushers because Atlanta simply could not have enough. So with that being said, the Falcons do have around $15 million in cap space in case you are wondering. They may very well just want to roll a lot of that money over to next season, so don't think they're going to spend all $15 million of that free available cap space. We're going to talk about some potential cornerback targets in just a brief moment, but this is really your last chance to get the Atlanta Falcons 2023 NFL Draft Hat. Get your orders in today when you go to chatsports.com/ATL hat, and you can get the exact same hat that future Falcons players will be wearing when they get drafted next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Here are the top 10 corners, in my opinion, going into this year's draft. I've got Christian Gonzalez as my number 1 corner. Devon Witherspoon is not far behind, though. They are both great options. Joey Porter Jr., of course, the son of NFL legend Joey Porter. Deonte Banks, Emmanuel Forbes, Kelee Ringo, Clark Phillips, Cam Smith, and Tyrique Stevenson, and Julius Brents. The guys on the right-hand side of your screen, they are round 2 to round 3 players. The first 3 to 4 names, I think, are round 1 guys. And Forbes is kind of right there on the edge of late round 1, early round 2. So I think the Falcons are very, very likely going to be taking a cornerback at number 8 now in this draft, especially with Tyree Wilson, the edge rusher from Texas Tech. I don't know what happened or what his PR team did in the last 2 weeks, but his stock has risen. I mean, we might see Tyree Wilson go 5, 6. So if the Falcons are thinking we want edge rusher, but only if it's Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson, or Jalen Carter. Well, Carter's more of an interior defensive lineman, but you get the gist here. If all those 3 guys are gone when the Falcons are on the clock at 8, well, maybe it's going to be a cornerback as the best player available. So who could that be? Like I said, Gonzalez, Witherspoon, and Porter are your 3 top cornerbacks in this draft. Now, depending on who you ask, you're going to get different answers for who the number 1 corner is. I like Gonzalez a lot, and I think he will be the first cornerback taken in this year's draft. Great ball skills, 4 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, outstanding athleticism, great size and arm length, and all the things you look for in a cornerback. I'm never going to say anyone's a surefire thing, but man, Christian Gonzalez, he feels like the real deal. Devon Witherspoon and Joey Porter Jr., 2 Big Ten guys, great options as well. But corner at number 8 definitely seems likely right now. Now, the good news for Falcons fans is I think we can all agree the biggest need for Atlanta going into this draft is probably now corner, pass rusher, and wide receiver. It's not a great wide receiver class, but it is a very deep cornerback class and a very deep edge rusher class, more so on the cornerback side. So if the Falcons go corner at 8 in round 2, there are still some really good edge rushers they can get to try and fill that need. It's also no coincidence that the Falcons have spent a ton of money on the defensive side of this offseason and specifically at targeting pass rushers. So with a lot of free agency being devoted to pass rushers, they may turn their attention to cornerback during the NFL draft. Now make sure to subscribe before the NFL draft gets here because we will have pick-by-pick analysis. So don't miss a thing when it comes to the Falcons when you are subscribed. Producer Nick Roloff and I make sure you guys stay in the loop on the Dirty Birds. So we're going to sign off, let you enjoy the rest of your Friday. Casey Hayward, thank you for your 6 games of service. And Christian Gonzalez, you are an Atlanta Falcon.